Good evening, everyone present in the hall. Honorable Chairperson, Dr. Gurpreet Singh, venerated panelist, Dr. Chima, Dr. Todd, and others, present audience and dear children. I feel privileged to be here to express my views on the topic, challenges in rural education and how to bridge the gap. I'm thankful to the organizers for inviting me here, and I'm feeling really very much blessed to be here in the divine valley of peace. Thanks to God for this also. As I belong to a rural area, that's why I have chosen this topic to discuss with you. Majority of India still lives in villages, and so the topic of rural education in India is of utmost importance. A survey, the annual status of education report, shows that even though the number of rural students attending schools is rising, but more than half of the students in 5th grade are unable to read a 2nd grade textbook and are not able to solve simple mathematical problems. Not only this, the level of listening, speaking and reading is further deteriorating. Though efforts are being made, they are not in right direction. In some states, attendance of teachers and students is also declining. Some government schools in rural India are overly packed with students, leading to a distorted teacher-student ratio. In one such remote village in Arunachal Pradesh, there are more than 300 students in class 10, which makes nearly 100 students in each classroom. In such a situation, it's impossible for teachers to pay full attention towards each and every student, even if they are willing to help. Now, the more students are going to the schools. Among 6 to 14 years old kids in rural India, 97% are attending schools. The toughest demographic to keep in school is 11 to 14-year-old girls. Even here, the number are improving. Attendance in this age range has gone up to 90 to 95%. Quarter of these children are now enrolled in private schools. With the Right to Education Act, government schools are providing free education. According to the statistics, they are performing better in rural areas comparatively to private institutions. Private school education is, on the other hand, rising, but the rural area people don't have access to the private institutions. The survey further suggests that student attendance is 71%. In number of that has dropped last 4 years. Some states have dropped over 10%. Bihar is at the bottom in the list with 50% student attendance. Half of all rural schools do not have functioning washrooms also. Nearly a quarter do not have separate washrooms for girls. Even the problem of drinking water is also there. Right to Education Act clears that it is mandatory for all the institutions. The ASER findings highlight the failing of the current system and they point towards areas. In the 3rd grade, 9 out of 10 students will not learn how to read. In the 4th grade, 8 out of 10. The Right to Education Act mandates that students should not repeat a year. So, every year, the child is promoted onwards with the hope that somebody else will notice and help. But year after year, the situation is not improving. Majority of people living in villages have understood the importance of education, but due to lack of money, they are not able to send their children to private and good schools. Even after 66 years of independence, every village is not provided with schools, which means that students have to go to another village to get education. Ironically, one day I was watching TV and I had seen the children of Madhya Pradesh crossing the railway line to reach to the destination, the school. It's really not good for Indian as we are seeing the situation. The other point I would like to discuss here, that is teachers are not competent. Quality and access to education is a major concern in rural schools, as there is a scarcity of committed teachers who can be called role models for students. To make the things worse, there is generally lack of proper textbooks and learning material in rural areas. As far as competency of teachers is concerned, most of teachers work only for doing a job, not for providing good and quality education to children. They half-heartedly work without any focus. Such teachers seem to be teachers by chance, not by choice. They are not teacher of blood, they are not teacher of by nature. Lack of zeal for teaching, passion and contents are missing. They are the teachers of prescribed textbooks only. Neither they try to build their own reading skills, nor they like to motivate the children to read other books than the prescribed textbooks one. Students are not encouraged to think creatively. They generally mug up the facts and vomit them out in the examination. The result is that many students clearing the examination at the end of the session becomes more important than gaining knowledge. The confidence level of such students is generally very low, even though they get marks in examination. The listening skills of such students need to be developed to develop other creative skills like speaking and communicating. The difficulty we are facing now is that the teachers are not motivated to teach, let alone do anything really creative, because they come out of an educational process where their creativity, resourcefulness, self-reliance and self-worth took a battering. No one has told them that education is about learning, not teaching. So when they concern themselves about learning, they raise their possibilities of becoming good teachers, because they don't see that good learners make good teachers. In other manner, I would like to say dedication in the profession is also missing. They are so-called money-minded educationists. India is a poor country. Therefore, poverty is also the main problem in the rural areas. Poverty is really a setback. It's a fact that private schools, being expensive, are out of reach of poor men. So the dropout rate at the secondary level is extremely high in villages. The NCERT released data for its 8th All India Education Survey, a survey which covers over 13 lakh recognized schools across the country. The survey reveals that even though there was a 19.12% increase in girls' enrollment, girls enrolled in the primary school stage drop out as they move to the higher classes. On the positive side, 30% increase in number of teachers appointments. When parents are not able to send their wards for higher education due to their not very good fiscal condition, all the efforts of previous classes get wasted as completing just primary education or secondary education means a low paying jobs. And the concerned person is again stuck on a crossroad when one's life seems to be in wilderness. And it leads to a never-ending cycle of poverty, hopefulness, depression, and helplessness. Again, the problem of English is also a major hindrance for the rural children. A problem that rural students confront is that most textbooks, especially onwards class 10, are in English, since people living in rural areas either speak in their own dialect or in Hindi, or in very few people in English. This defeats the very purpose of modern education. Ironically, a majority of teachers teaching English is also weak in this language. This factor leads to lack of interest of rural students in studies. Though some of the students from villages are really brilliant, as they have a wealth of practical knowledge, they know how to survive in harsh conditions, but still they face so many problems due to the knowledge of English. The parents and the community are not able to give them proper support. Parents and children, community are essential components of education system of any nation. Unfortunately, both these factors have been missing from the scheme of things, especially in rural areas. No parent is ever willing to take responsibility of their ward and support the education system of an institute. Simply depositing the annual and monthly charges of the school seem to be the sole aim of the parents. In the same manner, community also moves away from becoming one of the partners in the development of children. Problem. We should not discuss all the time problems, and we should move to the solutions. Solution is the key for all the locks. Now let's come to the remedies of the problems. It's better to build a child than to repair a man. I would like to repeat the line. It's better to build a child than to repair a man. As per a Kothari Commission report, it was said the fate of a child is decided in a classroom. So the foundation to turn India into a strong nation has to be laid down at primary and rural areas. So the quality of education right from the beginning should be excellent. Education should be made interesting. Textbooks should be made interesting. The way of imparting education, it must be interesting. For rural students, textbook related to their culture, tradition, values can also be arranged. Self-management and self-motivation are the main keys to enthuse the children, to inspire the children. There is a difference between city and village students, not in terms of brain or development, but their initial environment skills, learning ability, availability of infrastructure, and access to different facilities. It's pertinent to discuss here, and exceptions are also there. There are many rural schools which have been doing their very well in the holistic development of children. So it's absolutely mandatory to evaluate the success of rural schools at each and every level. The supervision and regular check on the functions and performance of rural schools need to be properly carried out by the higher authorities. It can change the scenario. Provide basic amenities, basic facilities to all the children. Transportation facilities should be taken care of, as children in rural areas have to walk miles to reach their schools. Ultimately, they are the property of the nation. Basic amenities like drinking water must be provided. Computer facilities fitted with high-speed internet should be given in schools. Group classes should be taken by using video conferencing, audio conferencing in rural schools. The teachers should be given proper training and tools like laptops, printers, and other learning and teaching material. School infrastructure should be made more advanced at par with schools in urban areas. Core scholastic areas should also be checked. Apart from the course curriculum, rural schools are not able to involve children in other activities like sports, co-curricular activities and competitions. Such events and activities tend to help in overall development of the children. Vocational training should be introduced right from the middle standard so that they can improve their living conditions. Stress should be given on communication skills and communication development. Providing free standard education to rural children, supporting them for higher education can be another welcome step. The new teaching methodologies and assessment system need to be implemented in real manner. The environment of rural schools should be stress-free. In our schools, monthly seminars on developing communication skills should be arranged with the help of experts. As Mr. Ramtod was telling us, more stress should be given on conversation in English to grow globally. Top ranking students should be encouraged and need to be helped financially. Tours and excursions also enhance the abilities of the children. Rural students should be exposed to industrial visits, and the progress made in science and technology must be witnessed by the rural children. Different tours and excursions should be organized for rural children for giving them exposure to the world outside. It's a popular saying, एक बार देखा हुआ, 9 बार सुना हुआ बराबर होता है. Therefore, the children must take some visits to the industrial units and some other exposure should be given to those children. Ultimately, I would like to show the audience. At the bottom, we have one side the teachers, other side we have the parents. When both support a child, then he can reach at the top. Both should equally support the child in a very positive manner. We must hire motivated and inspired teachers. Young and motivated teachers, especially for lower grades, should be hired and give them proper training. Dedication must be there. It's an important feature. Teachers should teach affectionately. The education sector needs to go in the hands of private sector. It can improve the scenario of the nation. Let private multinational companies, NGOs, philanthropists come forward in this field. People with positive approach and social zeal should be involved in educational institutions. If mobile towers and internet signals can reach each and every corner of the country, especially in rural points, why not quality education reach each and every home of a village? If J&K government manages mobile towers for Amarnath Yatris, why not a very good school in the rural areas? It can be done with the help of the philanthropists, with the help of the NGOs, and with the help of the people who have a passion for teaching and for education. At the end, at the conclusion, I would like to say, India needs more educational institutions than the temples, because educational institutions are the temple of learning. We should put in all our efforts to make schools not only a place of learning, but an institution where children are prepared to become human beings and to lead an ideal and moral spiritual life. We are here to make their life not only the living, we should prepare them for the life with the moral values. And ironically, I would like to say we are preparing them only for the living. Government should take initiative in setting up new industrial units in rural areas so that qualified teachers, qualified children are accommodated only in their own areas, in those factories, to lead a healthy and prosperous lives. I urge everyone to figure out ways to motivate children, make coming to school a fun event, provide financial incentives to good children to motivate them and to inspire them to come ahead for a good and pious work. Everything else will fall in place automatically. Thank you. All the best. Before leaving my seat, I would like to say thanks to my co-partner, Mr. Vipin Sehgal, and the persons who have accompanied me to be here with me, my staff members. Thank you, all the best.